What's up YouTube, Saf here on Super Saf TV, and this is my full review of the Samsung Galaxy S4. It follows on from the huge success of the Samsung Galaxy S3, which was the most popular Android smartphone of 2012. Now this has also been the most talked about phone of 2013, so do hit that thumbs up button and let's get straight to the review. So to begin with, looking at the size, design and build of the S4, it is slightly smaller in width and also slightly thinner than the S3. If we just bring over the S3 here, you can see that both look very similar. However, the edges of the S4 are not as curved as the S3, and also the back is a little bit more solid on the S3, was a little bit more curved on the back as well. A few changes here and there, but again it does look very similar and it fits in with the rest of the Samsung Galaxy devices. It weighs just 130 grams, so it is pretty light and lighter than the S3 as well. It also has the polycarbonate casing. Now that's one of the things that's been very controversial and probably the most debated thing online as well in terms of the S4, that it's got this polycarbonate plastic casing, and to be honest it doesn't feel cheap in any way. It does feel pretty premium. However, lots of people prefer something like the HTC One, which has an aluminium unibody design, so it is definitely a bit more sturdy and a little bit more premium feeling. Personally speaking, I usually use a case on my smartphone anyway. Reason being is that this is a £550 smartphone. In the US you're looking at roughly around $750, so it is pretty expensive. So if you do drop it and it smashes into pieces, especially the screen, that's not an ideal situation to be in. So personally I do use a case for protection, but again I know lots of people don't like doing that. However, the fact that this is a plastic body design allows you to remove the back to access expandable storage up to 64 gigabytes and also a removable battery, something that other competitive devices such as the HTC One don't offer. So I guess it's really up to you what you prefer. Would you like the expandable storage and that option to remove your battery, or would you like a more premium feeling device? Now, having talked about the expandable storage, just to mention that this does have, out of the 16 gigabytes for the 16 gigabyte model, it only has roughly about 9 gigabytes of usable storage. The rest is taken up by the operating system and TouchWiz on Samsung. So that's one thing to bear in mind. So although you have the expandable storage for your media, if you are going to be installing lots and lots of apps, then it may be worth waiting for the 32 or 64 gigabyte versions, which currently are not really widely available. Now moving on to the screen and resolution, it's a 5-inch screen, so even though it's a very similar size to the S3, they've managed to get a 5-inch screen on here. They've done that by really decreasing the size of the bezel around the screen, which is really great. You've got a Super AMOLED capacitive touchscreen and it's a full 1080p display, so that's 441 pixels per inch in terms of pixel density, which is absolutely great. You've got really nice colors, vivid, bright and vibrant, and I absolutely love the quality on this screen. Images look absolutely great. Videos, you're going to be able to see full 1080p videos pixel for pixel, so it's not going to be scaled down as they would do traditionally. You're going to be able to appreciate those 1080p videos at their full quality, and text as well is very crisp and clear. You know, you're not going to see any sort of pixelation whatsoever. The screen is also a super sensitive screen, so you can also use this device with gloves, something that you can't do unless you have special gloves on other devices. Now you do have to switch on the setting on here. It's in display and high touch sensitivity setting. You do have to switch down if you want to be using the device with gloves, but having that option there is absolutely great, especially if you're from a cold country. Personally, I remember just last week, even though it's May, it was a bit cold and I could just use this with my gloves on, which was absolutely great. Now looking at the performance, this is the quad-core 1.9 GHz version and it's got 2 GB of RAM. It's not the octa-core version, which is currently still quite hard to get by, so this is the version that I've got here. However, it's very fast, definitely one of the fastest out there. In terms of benchmarks, it is on the top of all of the charts out there, and demanding apps and games etc. are going to work absolutely fine. In terms of multitasking, I've not had any issues whatsoever. Very fast and fluid, and if speed is your thing, then I don't think you can go wrong with this device. It is definitely one of the fastest smartphones out there at the moment. Now moving on to the camera. The front-facing camera is a 2 megapixel camera with 1080p video recording. Traditionally, the front-facing cameras have been 720p, so you do have 1080p, full 1080p recording. A rear camera is a 13 megapixel camera at 1080p once again. And if you want to see hands-on examples and also comparisons, then do check out some of my other videos. I've compared this to the S3. Both front-facing and rear-facing cameras, as well as images and video, and I've also compared the S4 to the iPhone 5. So I'll be including links in the description below and also in annotations of this video, so do check those out. Those go into quite a bit of detail. But overall, it has great quality images and video, and I think what I was really impressed with was the audio that this device records. So when you're doing video, the audio on there is one of the best I've heard on a smartphone. Very, very nice. Low light images are improved, but I would say still not as good as something like the HTC One or the iPhone 5, which seem to do a bit of a better job when it comes to low light. In terms of the software for the camera, the interface is similar to the Galaxy camera that you have on there. Very nice and intuitive. There's lots of different features on here. Just to mention a few, you've got sound in shot, where you can take pictures with a short sound clip as well. Personally, I'm not too much of a fan of this. I prefer just taking a short clip of video anyway. You've also got dual camera. Now this is a very, very useful feature. I think it's one of the best camera features this phone has. So you can record using both the front facing and rear facing cameras at the same time. I think this is currently the only device with this feature out there. So you can record videos with either the front-facing camera as your primary, and you can have a small box as your rear camera, or the other way around, and you can resize these, you can use frames, etc. You can also use this for pictures, but I think for video it's definitely more useful, especially if you're doing things like vlogs where you want to see yourself as well as what you're seeing through the camera. It's very, very useful. Another good feature on here is drama shot. You can take multiple images together, combine them into one, which is also quite interesting. Now in terms of the operating system, you've got Android Jelly Bean 4.2.2, which is the latest version of Jelly Bean. However, it's got TouchWiz on top, which is Samsung's own custom skin. Now, if you do want the stock Android Google version, now Google did announce in the I/O event that next month, so in June 26th, I believe, they're going to be stocking a Samsung Galaxy S4 on Google Android, stock Android. So if you do want that vanilla experience, currently I think it's only going to be available in the US. I'm not sure about any UK availability options, but if you are somebody who likes the stock vanilla Android experience and don't like TouchWiz, then that's something that you can hold on for. Personally speaking though, I think TouchWiz is one of the best skins out there for Android, and I do like it. There's lots of features that I do like, such as multi-window, so you can take advantage of the multitasking abilities of this phone. You can have two apps open at the same time, so if you want to be watching a video as well as browsing the internet, you can take advantage of this size screen as well. The notifications area is also very good. Dragging down with one finger will give you your quick settings at the top as well as your notifications and brightness. However, you can also swipe down with two fingers and it's going to give you toggles for all of the different options that you've got on this phone, and there is a lot on here. However, you can easily edit these as well. You can move the order around. You can have your top 5 which come down when you just swipe down with one finger. So I really, really like this customizable experience, and you can really make it what you like. S Health is another app on here which Samsung have put together. So this is going to measure your footsteps, etc. And you can put in your calories and your food intake and measure all that. Personally, I'm not much of a calorie counter myself, but it is quite a useful feature on here. S Voice has been improved as well. I know lots of people just like using Google Now instead, but to control things on your phone, etc., S Voice is pretty good and it has been improved. Here's a quick example. Can you set an alarm for tomorrow at 7:30 AM?
Alright, this is your alarm for 7:30 AM. Do you want to save this alarm?
Can you repeat it every day?
Should I save this alarm set for 7:30 AM?
Yes, please.
Okay, I saved your alarm for 7:30 AM.
So pretty easy to set up, but I'm not sure how much everybody will be using it, but that's just a quick example there. You also have S Translator. Now this is going to translate from text to speech and also from speech to text and the other way around, and it's going to be quite useful if you're out and about. Here's a few languages that you can use, and here's a quick example. Hi there, how are you doing? Okay, so now let's just come out with the Spanish alternative. I don't know Spanish myself, but let me know if somebody can speak Spanish. Let me know what this comes up as.
Hola allí, ¿cómo es usted que hace?
Is that correct? Drop me a comment below and let me know. In terms of the languages available, you've got Brazilian, Portuguese, French, German, Italian and Spanish. And the input languages, you've got a few more here. I'll just leave this on so you can have a quick look. Now looking at some of the features, there is a lot of new features on here. Just to touch on a few, Air View is one, so you can hover your finger over certain elements and it's going to give you a quick preview. This works quite well with the gallery, with your quick dials, etc. So sort of a useful feature. Air gestures, initially I thought this wasn't too useful, but what happened a few days ago is I was having a kebab and my hands were quite messy, and I was able to answer the phone just by hovering my hand over it without actually having to touch the phone, and it answered it with a loudspeaker, which I thought was quite useful, and I was able to answer the call without actually having to touch the device directly, which was very useful. The IR blaster again is another useful feature. You can control your TV. I have an LG TV and I was able to set it up within minutes, and I could change the channels, etc., and have a few controls. Again, very, very useful. Some of the other features are a bit gimmicky. I'm not sure of the use of them. One of the examples is a smart scroll where it's going to track your head. It actually tracks your head, tilting your head up and down rather than your eyes. Initially I thought it's going to be tracking the eyes, and it doesn't. I mean, to be honest, I'm not sure what the use of this is, because you can easily just use your thumb. If your phone's in your hand anyway, you can easily use your thumb to scroll up and down. So I'm not sure of the practicality of this. I was trying it out. I was sat in bed and then I was reading something on my browser, and I tilted my head slightly back because I was leaning back on the headboard, and it just started scrolling like crazy, and I had to switch it off, and I really didn't like it. So not something that I'd be using. Smart pause is where if you look away, it's going to pause the video that you're watching. Works with YouTube. YouTube is where I watch all my videos anyway, so it does work. Again, something that I'm not sure I'll be using that much. Sometimes I just want to tilt my head somewhere, but I want the video to be carrying on playing in the background. So again, I'm not too sure of the practicality of this. Some people may find it useful. Group play is something else on here. You can connect it with other S4s. So I was out the other day with a few friends, two of which had the S4 as well. We tested it out. It worked pretty well. You could share images quite easily, and you could play the same music track from all three devices. Now I'm not sure again if I'd be using this on a day-to-day basis. Now looking at the battery, it's got a lithium ion 2600 milliamp battery. As I did mention, it is removable, so you can carry around a spare battery or you can replace it altogether. In my usage, I've had a full day of usage quite easily. I'd consider myself a medium user, so I do have the Wi-Fi or data on throughout the day. Now this is 3G data. I've not got 4G here, so not 4G LTE, so that might take up a little bit more juice. My usage also consists of social media, WhatsApp, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, lots of these things throughout the day. Emails, general browsing as well, taking pictures and video. I tend to take lots of pictures and video when I'm out and about, watching a little bit of YouTube here and there. And I found towards the end of the day, I had roughly between 30 to 40% battery life remaining, which was pretty good for me. However, if you are a gamer or somebody that's a heavy user, then it might be worth carrying around a spare battery or just planning a charge in between your day. So that was my review of the Samsung Galaxy S4. Overall, I think it's an absolutely great phone. It's definitely one of the best smartphones out there at the moment. What do you think about it? Do drop me a comment below and let me know your thoughts. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it useful. If you did, as always, do hit that thumbs up button for me. It really does help me out. And why not subscribe to the channel? I've got plenty more videos coming up on here, including a hands-on comparison of the S4 to the S3. So do stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching. This is Saf on Super Saf TV, and I'll see you next time.